What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Raw Gaming,
And you already know it's your girl Nana Freaky Jones. Ow, ow, ow.
and we back with another one. It's Welcome to Derry, episode 6 breakdown. Let's get it on.
We are back at it, part 6. Let's get into it.
Welcome, Rockstars. I'm Eric Boss, and this is a and so is some helium and hopium from the one person in Derry not afraid of clowns. Periwinkle Ingrid Kirsch, what are you doing? There are a lot of cool details in this episode, so let's take it scene by scene.
I told y'all, I've been told y'all, she is cuckoo.
Yeah, cuckoo
Pennywise's daughter, Periwinkle. And in this episode, I really like not that I liked it, but it was interesting when she said, I want him to see me again as Periwinkle, like as if he'll be proud. Like, what is she on?
Yeah, he probably don't give a damn about her. She about to get eaten next.
For real. It looked like he wanted to eat her that first time.
It looked like he didn't know who she was.
Let's go.
All the details and Easter eggs that you might have missed. Also, we're having huge holiday sales at nerdriot.shop, the one place you can find our exclusive designs like Penny Eyes and Welcome to Scary. Buying a shirt from Nerd Riot is the best way to support the channel. Just head to nerdriot.shop and pick out one for yourself. And thanks to Fabletics for sponsoring this video. More on them in a moment. The episode opens on Juniper Hill Asylum in 1935, the same year as the Bradley Gang shootout in the Muschietti timeline. It's 1936 in the book timeline. But that means we are at the 27-year cycle of the entity's reappearance, and Nurse Ingrid's gonna help this feeding cycle with a whole buttload of kids that in 1962 she's just gonna pretend like she forgot about. When talking about it with Lily, this rainy black and white shot of the asylum gate looks like an establishing shot from a Batman the Animated Series episode that brought us into Arkham Asylum. I know Andy Muschietti got his haters from The Flash, but I really do think this is the guy to pull off a live-action version of the Batman the Animated Series Gotham in the DCU. Also, this is black and white because, you know, the world was just black and white in the 30s. No, I'm not Calvin's dad, but this is how Ingrid sees her memories, like the black and white photographs in her creepy album. The color red, though, always stands out in these memories, like the little red coat girl in Schindler's List, because these details all pop out to Ingrid as memories of the father she lost. Over the shot of the gate, we do hear some whispers. We see little Mabel sleeping in her bed, and Ingrid creeps up behind her in the shadows like some creepy sleep paralysis demon. There is a character in Salem's Lot named Mabel, but given what happens to this girl, she's not the elderly gossip Mabel who gets turned into a vampire in Salem's Lot. Mabel says,
I don't want to go.
Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of down there.
the false promise of safety. We don't see Ingrid's face at first, just her hand reaching out from the shadows, recalling Pennywise in the sewer reaching his hand out to Georgie. Young Ingrid is played by Tyner Rushing, though the character still seems to be voiced.
I'm not gonna lie. On that part, I thought his hand was gonna come from the door.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely thought that. One thing I could say about this episode, it was actually my least favorite. I still liked it a lot. It was my least favorite, but one thing I did like about it is how they really gave the deep origin of, like, who Pennywise is taking the form of. I like how it even gives her backstory because the one that plays the nurse, Miss...
It's tough for me, yo.
The guy who was at the deli, well, either way, his wife,
Mr. Kirsch?
Yes, Miss Kirsch. So we already been said Miss Kirsch was crazy ever since she was trusting and believing her, and it's really because she been waiting for him to come. So it's like, I don't even know what she's doing, but I really like how it gave us like a new big bad, a new villain.
I don't even think she's a big bad or a villain. I just think she's a creep.
I think she's a sadistic villain. She already led one girl to her murder and basically straight told homegirl, the main character.
Yeah,
Lily. Literally told Lily, oh, I won't let him hurt you, but what about my friends? She couldn't keep no promises. Like, basically, we're going to feed him your friends because I want to see him for her selfish, demented, personal fantasy.
Yeah, she's probably gonna get eaten too, yeah. Mr. Kirsch getting eaten by it.
Madeline Stowe, or at least Tyner Rushing doing a really good Madeline Stowe impression. Tyner Rushing played Henry Creel's mother, Virginia, in Stranger Things Season 4. And if you're looking for our Stranger Things episode-by-episode breakdown, that's going to be coming to the channel tomorrow. The red balloon also seems to glow brighter than it should, given the dark surroundings of this basement level. The hand of Pennywise reaches out to grab the balloon, and he looks giant in the doorway, physically imposing to both little Mabel and to adult Ingrid, who would still see this clown as like the larger father figure that she lost as a girl. Right as the balloon lowers, revealing the pinprick glowing eyes, we smash cut to the credits. Now, while we noted the creepy undertones added to the Patience and Prudence song kicking in right around the Juniper Hill part of the opening credits, those undertones were not there in episode 2 the first time we saw these credits. But starting in episode 3, and increasingly with each week, the more sinister elements of the music grow louder and louder. As Leroy yells at his son, Will just replays what he heard Pennywise saying to him down in the sewer. While it's normally Maturin's cousin, Bert the Turtle, saying duck and cover, all the anxiety these kids are fearing over the oncoming Cuban Missile Crisis is something the entity is particularly salivating over. We hear Leroy say that he had to send his best friend home in a box because Will disobeyed him. Using the term box for the coffin that Polly Russo was put in does remind us of Dick Halloran's open lockbox that caused Dick to see Polly's ghost walking around. Leroy slaps Will, which seems like the first time Leroy has ever done this. The kids will realize later that the trauma experienced by people who encounter the entity does have the side effect of making them more violent and starting to turn against each other.
It's got to your head. That's one thing that's definitely reoccurring, I would say, in every It movie, everything. Soon as it comes to town, people just start acting wretched. In the original movie, there was carving on his belly. In this one, in this series, I really think like one of the most intense moments that brought that out was when the boys were bullying that boy, and Charlotte runs outside like nobody's gonna stop this, and people are literally smiling driving by like, what is in the water, in the air, in Derry?
Hey, it was in the Derry area.
After a sobbing Will leaves, we have this sudden cut to Leroy with Charlotte in a spectral pose in the mirror behind him. She was the form the entity took, not as something the fearless Leroy would fear, but really the stern judgment only a spouse can paralyze their spouse with. Also, everybody's jump scaring each other this episode. When Marge looks in a mirror later, Rich is right behind her. Everyone's on edge. We hear Roy Orbison's running scared, just running scared each place we go, so afraid he might show. Quite appropriate, as Will bikes away. His pedaling is framed with a jet flying overhead, making Will kind of like Maverick trying to outrun the fighter jets on his motorcycle in Top Gun. We see some missing kid posters, Lynn Jones and Teddy Uris, and that's interesting because unlike Mr. Malkin, the Uris family does not seem to assume that Frank Grogan murdered their son and that he might still be out there as a missing runaway. But the people of Derry pay no attention to these posters in the alleyway and only focus on the wanted posters of Hank in the storefronts. One in particular is the window of Quality Meats, which would have been put up by Stanley Kirsch the Butcher, who joins all the other assholes in the Falcon later. But yeah, it's pretty ironic because this guy's wife Ingrid has been boinking this Hank fella on the flyer behind Stanley's back. These Hank wanted posters carry with them a $500 reward for his capture, and we see the white residents of Derry amassing in front of the library, openly carrying guns and weapons and swigging booze in the street. All of this is framed with a flapping American flag. Sadly, this is kind of the American way, isn't it? Lily shows the others the meteorite dagger that the entity is repelled by and gets a little Lord of the Rings with it when it comes to letting others hold or share it. As we'll see with these kids, the life or death stakes that they're feeling after their close call with Pennywise in the sewer is really bringing out the worst in them. And since the last time they were up there on the standpipe, one of these kids with them was a monster in disguise, so you can't really blame them for seeing that potential werewolf in each other. And for anyone who just sees Pennywise as a kind of dumb, simplistic monster who just taunts and chases his prey as a tactical detriment to his own endgame, I think moments like this show how the entity is also very effective as a social disruptor, breaking down the common interests that unite social groups, making what separates people impossible to ignore, boosting everyone's sense of victimhood so that they are trying to out-victim each other, and really stymieing any hope for progress or unity against an existential threat like him. Dick Halloran returns to the black spot, and right away we see how his open lockbox causes him to accidentally see a ghost. But love the choice.
I wanted to pause it on a good picture of it. I think that this is like one of the coolest storylines
Detriment to his own endgame. I think moments like this show how the entity is also very effective as a social disruptor, breaking down the common interests that unite social groups, making what separates people impossible to the black spot, and right away we see how his open lockbox causes him to accidentally see a ghost.
All right, let's talk about Holland real quick because I feel like his storyline is the most interesting storyline. It makes me I still have not seen The Shine, which you're fond of and a lot of the fans are fond of, and I've obviously seen references, but his storyline is the most intriguing to me because he is in this world of horror, but he's also in this world of superhuman strength. And when he can see these ghosts, to me, it's just like so dope, so crazy, so scary. Like, imagine how scary it was. And he did a phenomenal job with this role, too, because he looked oppressed by these spirits.
Yeah, I think the boss said, I think he was supposed to have his own show, but then they wanted to give him like the type of origin story with this show. So I think he's gonna end up having his own show, where it's gonna follow a whole bunch of his little stories.
I hope so. I can't wait if that is the case. Very, very intense storyline with him. And I was thinking, like, that must be so scary to see what he's seeing. And of where they are on the base, who he's attracting is the ex-military people who died there. Like his grandmother told him, they stay where they die. They come back to where they died. So he's seeing like these wounded soldiers and we couldn't see it before when Leroy went into the room and he was all huddled up drinking the liquor.
Yeah, because the liquors were dulls to shine.
Yeah, so I didn't know that liquor dulled the shine, but that's good to know. But he was just like out of it, and I was like, what happened to him in those caves? Because it never showed after his comrade woke up in the zombie state. It never showed us.
I thought he was actually walking around as like a zombie for real.
Yeah, that's what I actually thought too. I thought that Pennywise was like pretending to be him.
Nah,
yeah.
I thought he like had control of a body because he had his shine. So I thought like dude really could have been a zombie for real.
Yeah.
Until the next episode.
And it's crazy,
Until
like
this episode,
he
next
died in
episode.
the tunnel, so he's gonna dwell the tunnel like as a spirit.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I walked out the tunnel and looked back like,
yeah.
who's around? Hey guys, save me.
Something that Halloran said that I was like, cool. He's like, if I don't speak to them or acknowledge them, they can't even see me.
Nah. He said if I don't talk, but the minute he starts talking, so I feel like even him talking in there, like them dudes is like, who's here? Where are you?
Yeah, so like at least he has that security.
Yeah, he better be quiet, yeah.
But I love the choice to not show us what Dick sees here. It's effectively like Cole in The Sixth Sense reacting to some ghost, but without seeing what he sees. Or Wendy in The Shining before we cut to what's in the hotel room over there. We are in the point of view of the other characters, and not seeing the horror kind of makes it scarier here. Leaking water from the icebox puddles at Dick's feet, which reminds us of the sewer water that suddenly appeared at Dick's feet in the back of the helicopter, and also, you could say, makes it look like he's peeing his pants, which is exactly what happens to Danny in Dr. Sleep when he sees malevolent ghosts after he and Wendy escape the Overlook Hotel, and before Dick Halloran's ghost teaches Danny how to lock these ghosts away in his mind in the lockbox. Charlotte picks up Will and Ronnie before they kiss, and we learn Will's middle name is Dubois, I assume after W.E.B. Dubois, given Charlotte's activism. I'm not sure what the purpose of the ice cream truck is in this scene, but the festive music we hear attracting the kids is kind of the thing the entity loves to fuck around with. Reggie and the others tell Dick that they've worked it out with Charlotte to hide Hank Rogan in the black spot, and when Charlotte shows up with Ronnie, Hank says no one knows about this place, just a few black airmen for the base. Someone's gonna snitch. At dusk, the sky over Derry is cast in a kind of romantic purplish pinkish glow to really set the stage for Rich and Marge here. Rich offers to help with their bandage, saying he was a Weeblo for a couple of years. Weeblo is like the final stage of Cub Scouts for 4th and 5th graders before they phase into scouting at age 11. I never did Weeblos or Cub Scouts. I just kind of joined scouting at 11, and I was way behind, but I still made it to Eagle. And the way I said that is not very Eagle Scout of me. Anyway, when Rich ogled Marge as she passed him in the past episode in the hallway. When she turned to look at him, her eyes were obscured by the glare on her lenses. Now he gets an up-close view at those peepers and he thinks her eye scarring looks sick. Richie tosses his paper airplane, trying to land it on Main Street, but as I pointed out in our past episode, when he tried to do this, the air current brings it somewhere else. And confirmed it is the Derry sewer, just like the water current brought Georgie's boat into that sewer. Dick Halloran has tried to drown his chaotic shine visions with booze, something that adult Danny Torrance will do in Dr. Sleep, which leads ghost Dick Halloran to mentor him away from drinking. As Leroy tries to drop off new orders for Operation Precept, Dick sees a ghost of a soldier with his head blown off. Since these ghosts wandered to the places that they died, I wonder if this guy was accidentally shot during a training exercise on the base, or, you know, maybe he did it to himself. Dick explains to Leroy that his grandma taught him the lockbox tactic to contain his visions when he was 9. I love the scoring here.
I ain't seen him since. Till yesterday.
Yeah, those bending instrumentals there. It's like the wail of a cat or like a mosquito buzzing past your ear. We've been hearing this throughout the series and I love it. Dick confirms that the vision of his grandfather was the entity invading his mind and breaking the box open to curse this one human who can see his true form with a kind of dizzying blindness and chaos. Leroy asks if the visions are here now, and Dick looks to his side as cigarette smoke billows back toward him, as if some ghost is right there next to his face, breathing.
This is literally the scene we was just talking about in the room, like, and I agree with Eric, like, I love just the look on his face, like, what is over there? And then, like, you get a little glimpse of him with his head blown off.
He doesn't even want to look around.
He wants to look down. He don't even want to see that.
I mean, this whole scene is basically Cole's I see dead people speech in The Sixth Sense, but instead of Leroy being mystified like Malcolm is, he just kind of sees an opportunity to complete the mission. Dick says,
And they know things we don't. Things the living aren't meant to know.
While Leroy interprets this as a pathway to finding the pillars, we are left wondering, what secrets of the universe do ghosts carry with them? This is a difference from the world rules of The Sixth Sense, where ghosts in that are described as being kind of amnesiacs, like confused memories drifting around. They don't know that they're dead. But here in this universe, all the ghosts are implied to have seen a bit beyond the event horizon. Whereas Dick used to be a company man following orders in the first half of the season, now he's openly insulting his commanding officer by cussing him out. Charlotte, meanwhile, packs up her stuff and promises to get Hank out of town and then move herself and Will back to Shreveport. I mean, it says a lot about Derry if this woman in 1962 is like, you know what, I think I'll move back to Louisiana. Either way, it's wishful thinking. We know from stories set in the future that Hanlon men are always going to be staying in Derry. In math class, Lily lets her thoughts drift to what Pennywise said to her in the sewer, and then, yeah, Pickle Dad shows up in the desk.
Who's gonna help you now, crazy?
The word crazy that triggered Lily when Ronnie called her that is now what the entity uses to insult her. As Lily holds a dagger, Pickle Dad says,
You'll die if you try.
This is a phrase that the entity often uses to scare kids away from trying to attack him. In the 1990 ABC, when Beverly heard the voices in her drain, the phrase comes up.
You'll die if you try to fight us. You'll die.
And then in the Muschietti movies, when Bill discovers Beverly is missing and has been taken to the sewer, Pennywise says, you'll die if you try. December is winter. Even in Los Angeles, it's cold and wet. And when you get home from being out in the world, all you want to do is in the pipes the night before, and Rich had to pee in a jar next to his bed. Marge doesn't judge him for this, and Rich gives her an eye patch that was supposedly from his Corsair ancestors in Cuba. Then the Patty Cakes show up and racistly insult Rich, calling him Ricky Ricardo. But hey, maybe Patty also remembers that this Rich is a drummer. Patty calls all the kids sitting at this table freaks, and I love this shot of all the other dorks we didn't even notice sitting there with their nerdy molecule figurines and space-themed lunchboxes, especially this one kid at the end of the table with an expression like, hey, I'm just getting tutored by these geeks, come on. But Margie fully redeems herself here and puts that sense of humor to work.
I am a freak.
And gum-chewing Rhonda, who remember was probably the one who wrote that cruel message on Ronnie's locker, chokes on that gum, and Rich is smitten. We transition from Marge showing off her eye wound with Curtis Lee's pretty little angel eyes. When the three get back to the black spot, Rich says that the last time he said a prayer, his dead Tio almost killed them, referring to the cemetery events in episode 3. Marge does a sign of the cross as she enters, which recalls the title of this episode, In the Name of the Father, which as a Catholic is something you do at the top of that. The black spot is thriving, and the kids walk walk into the kitchen area to knock on the door where Ronnie and Hank are, but look closely and you'll see a calamite baking powder can that we saw in the grocery store in the past episode, the same brand that shows up throughout The Shining and the overlooked pantry that the Room 237 documentary theorists made a big deal out of. Richie kisses this photo. This is jazz singer Sarah Vaughan, the cover photo of her 1960 album The Divine One. Sarah Vaughan was known as the queen of bebop, one of the greatest jazz singers of all time. Lily bikes to the Kirsch house where the neighbor watering his lawn creepily smiles at her. Inside we hear an old record playing Ol Hoyers In Denmark I Was Born, which is a Danish folk song. Lily finds Ingrid's scrapbook with photographs from spring 1959 of her and Stan and her sitting on a lawn labeled Derry Canal Days 1960. I pointed out last episode on the map of Derry. The Derry Canal is definitely part of the waterworks that the entity is constantly shedding in. From the 10th anniversary 1953 photo, we learn that she and Stan married in 1943, so they've been married for 19 years. And from the 32nd birthday 1932 photo, we know she was born in 1900, making Ingrid 62 years old? I mean, I guess it's interesting that Hank Grogan has been hooking up with her. I have a lot of questions.
Huh.
What the hell?
That is something I didn't pick up on. Let's.
Right, we just learned something, Eric. Eric just taught us something.
There. Then we see a 1930 portrait from the McMurtry Portrait Studio. Stephen King has said in interviews that Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove is his favorite book. His son even named his corgi McMurtry in honor of the author, so I'm guessing this is a nod to that. Then Lily finds some photos of a ranch visit in summer 1908, and then a photo with her and her father Bob Gray in Cumberland County. These are similar to the photos that adult Bev finds in 2016 in It Chapter 2 with a much older Mrs. Kirsch who was really the entity. But yeah, Mrs. Kirsch would have been 106 then. But these photos, when Bev sees them, are further altered by the entity in that scene so that Ingrid in the photo looks kind of cursed. While Bob Gray wasn't a bad guy, at least as far as we know, just kind of a traveling clown, this pose with the cigarette does make his fingers look extra thin and skeletal. Lily notices something familiar about Bill Skarsgård's smirk as Bob Gray, which is impressive since she's only ever seen Pennywise in his full clown makeup. The back of Ingrid's head rises up in frame like a horror movie villain. Lily tells her about the sewers and Maddie, and while hugging Ingrid, she sees a photo of Bob in his original clown costume. And I like the detail that it's just a clown cap that he's wearing, and Pennywise ultimately just kind of incorporates.
I was actually looking at the trailer to the new one, and I think that that cap is super creepy. Is it me, or is it not creepier than the AI?
It looks like it's gonna eat his head off just like that. It looks like that's how Pennywise eating his head off.
What clown is going around looking creepy like that, though? Like, look at him as a clown. Imagine being a kid.
Yeah, that smile's a little off. It's giving Tim Curry. It's giving the original Pennywise, yeah.
It is off.
Beep Richie.
But that clown alone is just petrifying.
Hell yeah. Screw all these clowns.
To make his forehead
Now you good.
huge. Ingrid is relieved that Lily actually saw the entity's Pennywise form, saying Lily brought him back. Lily sees Ingrid's old Periwinkle clown costume and wig, and Lily realizes that it wasn't Pennywise, but Ingrid is Periwinkle, who they got a photo of in the cemetery, who appeared outside Will's house, and the hand on that tomb wall that Will saw was indeed feminine, as I pointed out in my breakdown. Confirmed, Ingrid was the little girl known as Periwinkle, Bob Gray's daughter. She explains that Bob was the
You called it.
Dun, 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 dun.
He called it. He called it. He called it. And I was like, oh, that's just a clown. He was like, nah, that's Periwinkle. You even knew the name.
Nah, I don't think I knew the name.
I think you did.
Nah.
Because you said Periwinkle.
The only thing is they give a lot of Easter eggs, and it's like even all these, even when Eric breaks this down, it's like there's so much even in the episode that you got to look at that. Even when you go back and watch chapter 1, 2, anything you watch is an Easter egg in it. If it's there, you got the good eye to catch it.
It really is, though. It really is even, like, kind of crazy. Like,
Yeah, anything you watch, you be over there like, what's going on? If you really just pay attention, even if you watch a trailer to something, if you go back and watch the trailer, slow that joint down to maximum.
we did give y'all a trailer breakdown, but
Yeah, we're gonna finish.
there was a
one.
technical problem with it, but we did have one for y'all.
We're gonna do one, but I gotta really I do it like it's a school project. Gotta watch something 3-4 times, regular motion, slow motion, and then piece by piece. It get crazy.
Let's go.
Pennywise the Dancing Clown, a traveling performer who was taken in 1908, and we know the entity at that point just kept appropriating that persona as a way to scare kids. Ingrid says that she stayed in Derry hoping to find her dad again, so she worked at Juniper Hill, which brings us to the opening scene when Pennywise rushes up to Mabel, but then looks up at Ingrid.
And you brought a friend.
And you can see a light bulb going off as Pennywise recognizes the adult Ingrid as the daughter of the clown whose appearance that he took. Mabel trips and Ingrid gets separated behind a door. Ingrid then has to watch as Pennywise eats the girl, just like Bill Denborough has.
I thought that hand was coming off, like Georgia
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. I thought both arms about to come off, and she'd be over there like,
I was so surprised when that arm got snatched back.
Darn, what happened?
In It Chapter 2, when the kid gets eaten on the other side of the barrier in the funhouse maze, like the red balloon, Mabel's blood stays Technicolor red in this black and white flashback. Pennywise reverts back to Bob Gray.
It's me, Papa.
This gets her to open the door to him, and we learn that Ingrid felt whole for the
Sweet Papa. Fun fact too. So that red in the black and white, the reason why it's so thick is it was actually coined by Alfred Hitchcock in the shower scene where all the stage blood just looked too thin on the black and white.
It's very Alfred Hitchcock.
So he put the chocolate syrup and it gave that thick blood that really gored the audience out.
Yeah, it's very Alfred Hitchcock. Now I think about it, but this scene is actually funny as hell. Even seeing him as Bob Gray like that.
Come to
that's
Papa.
I would yeah, for real. I got like real like Elmer Fudd vibes off this dude.
I'm just
Elmer
I
Fudd with
wanted
no
I
hat.
wanted them to give us more dialogue between them, but I guess that's what builds the suspense is us
Nah,
still not knowing maybe.
See, here's what it's gonna be. And we're veering off into our own little thing right now. But what it's gonna be, it's like this next 2 episodes, they're gonna have to split it up in between with that shit. And that's what I'm not liking. Like, y'all gotta end it off crazy. They're gonna end it crazy. But it's gonna be a lot of to finish off the Pennywise backstory and then how he burns the town down now. So it's gonna be a lot of back and forth. But we got 2 more episodes of it, so.
So sad, but it's gonna be crazy 2 episodes. This was the slowest one, but I feel like it was a lot of build up.
Yeah, like it's
A lot
like,
of info, a lot of build up.
It's starting to seal off what they did. Like now they opening up the door to what we've been thinking. All the speculations.
The only critique I had so far was that first episode in the movie theater when that thing came out being like
Yeah, the
this
baby.
weird AI big baby thing.
Man, big fat, big headed baby.
My only other critique on this whole series is I don't like how drawn out it was. Like, I don't like how drawn out the attic scene was. I don't like how it was like great climaxes in between, but it was super drawn out. But yeah, let's get into it.
time since losing her dad on that awful day. I'm assuming that awful day was Easter 1908 when the Kitchener Ironworks exploded. And she said that ever since she would free him and, quote, do whatever it takes to be back with him again. So really what happened here is that Ingrid continues to work at Juniper Hill to find troubled Derry children to ultimately send them down in groups into the sewers as a kind of sacrifice because she thinks it will free her father. So Pennywise is basically shapeshifting.
That is cold. She sent them down there.
Cold-blooded.
She sent them down to those tunnels of Derry Lake.
Yeah, she should feel terrible. She should feel like a POS for real.
Nah, she's selfish. She wants to see her papa.
Now, I hope in the next season it's not all black and white like this, though. I hope not. I hope it's like colored. And I
But
hope the first season, like the third one, isn't completely black and white.
but this season isn't completely black and white. That's how you just know it's the flashbacks.
Oh, okay, maybe. I hope.
Yeah, I like when it's black and white because you know it's the flashback. If you have a peep. Or it's black and white in the movie and then they come out. But either way, let's go.
Into Bob Gray to kind of use Ingrid as his Ghislaine Maxwell. And Ingrid, I guess, clown bounds as Periwinkle, hoping that when her dad returns, he'll be pleased to see her in her old clown attire. Now, there's a little detail in these flashbacks. While many of the 1962 scenes, especially on the base, have John F. Kennedy framed on the wall, here in Juniper Hill in 1935, they got Franklin D. Roosevelt on the wall. You know, in a mental hospital. Hey, FDR was kind of a saint to many during the 1930s. I just think it's a little weird for this to be in a non-governmental building. In this show, I gotta say, a lot lot of the period-specific details just seem added on. I don't know if it's just me, but in a lot of the scenes of the kids talking, doesn't it just kind of feel like a show that could be set in 2025 if not for the clothes the kids are wearing? Also, we should note that it is weird that Ingrid's adult periwinkle costume is part of all this. On one hand, it does explain why the clown remained developed in the photograph when Chief Bowers looked at it. It wasn't anything supernatural for that photo. It was a real woman dressed as a clown. But also, how did 62-year-old Ingrid get away so fast when Leroy ran down to his front yard with a baseball bat? And was Ingrid holding that red balloon that Leroy saw up in the tree? I guess the balloon was also just part of her Papa-pleasing costume. Look, she's just crazy, all right? And I guess the idea is also that Ingrid had her affair with Hank Grogan to set all this in motion and bring the racial tensions in Derry to a fever pitch. She's setting up a big explosive tragedy to unleash what she thinks is gonna be her Papa. As to why Hank Grogan would be into her, hey, I don't know. Maybe she's just wearing this wig and makeup to appear younger. And maybe a future episode will show how Ingrid first appealed to Hank through like his interest in classic films as a film projectionist. Maybe I'm overthinking that part of it. When Ingrid brings up Lily's dead dad, Lily reaches for her bag, Melvin's pickle jarring company, but it's where the dagger is. Ingrid tells Lily,
Oh, you know what they say about Derry, dear? No one who dies here ever really dies.
this is what the entity as Mrs. Kirsch will tell Bev in It Chapter 2.
It's so very hot here this time of year. You feel like you could just about die. But you know what they say about Derry. No one who dies here ever really dies.
Ingrid extends her hand to Lily just as she extended it to Mabel, but Lily slashes the hand with the dagger and pedals away screaming as Ingrid's bloody handprint stains the back of her blouse. At the Falcon, someone just dunks their whole hand in that pickled egg jar. This town and their vinegar. The butcher, Mr. Kirsch, chats with Phil and Susie's dad, Mr. Malkin, who tried to kill Hank Grogan last episode, as well as Councilman Tibbs. Bowers, we find out, got removed as a chief by the deputy mayor, which is probably why his son and grandson end up being such shits. But we never learned why Bowers was fired. Maybe the escape of Hank Grogan after the bus crash, maybe just the spike of all the other missing kids this year. Bowers says he got an anonymous tip of some white woman as to where Hank was hiding. I assume this was Ingrid. No.
He said why he was fired because he couldn't close the case on all the missing children, and that's why he's so hell-bent on even like framing him. But they got him posted up at the black spot.
All these racist white townies would rush to the black spot, and that's why Ingrid went to Charlotte to get Hank moved to the base so the black airmen would take him in. Ingrid is basically orchestrating the augury of the 1962 cycle here. In the black spot, Rich and Marge react to the hot dancing and Air Force Coke, which is probably just, rum with a splash of Coke in it. Will tells Hank that his favorite film is the 1953 The War of the Worlds, directed by Byron Haskin. I love how even as a fugitive from the law, Hank is still taking the time to properly interview his daughter's prospective boyfriend as if this were a normal domestic rite of passage. The musicians see Rich's drumsticks in his pocket and ask him to join their band. Suddenly, we remember that Rich was introduced as the drummer in the marching band, pulls out his sticks and goes solo. We get a brief shot of Ingrid in her attic suiting up as Periwinkle, waiting for the tragedy that her snitching would lead to so that she can reunite with her papa tonight. The mob from the Falcon all roll up to the black spot wearing horror movie villain masks. Looks like Bowers is front and center there wearing a Dracula mask. Mr. Malkin wearing what I think is a Pagliacci sad clown mask. Councilman Tibbs in I think that's a creature from the Black Lagoon mask. And then someone behind him, maybe Stanley Kirsch, in I think a Wolfman mask.
Are those not like super creepy masks though?
Yes, it's like the next step from the KKK shit. A Klan member.
I love that how he put together Miss Kirsch snitched.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That's something I noticed too. Is like the racial tension that they keep at an all-time high with the children and the adults.
That's that Easter egg stuff I'm talking about because I didn't even think about it. How'd they get that tip like that? Who's the one that knew? Mrs. Kirsch, the one that's over there messing around with him.
All of these are classic movie monsters and forms that the entity takes in the novel. And Bowers being the vampire of them, rolling up to lead the attack does feel very Salem's Lot coded to me. So next episode will show the events of the Black Spot fire. In Stephen King's book, the Black Spot was a hate crime in which the residents of Derry just attacked a black-owned hangout out of racial animus, stirred up by Pennywise. But here in the show, they further motivated as a lynch mob for Hank Grogan that was stirred up by the entity and his minion Ingrid. I mean, isn't it bad enough that these black airmen and their dates and friends are gonna suffer this hate crime that Pennywise will further exploit? But the fact now that kids are there too? Shit. Comment down below with your thoughts on this episode, and special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Marisa Miranda, for supporting us as the executive producer.
Yo, that episode, it was good. It was good. It was my least favorite, but it was good.
The only thing I didn't like about it was the beginning. It was too slow for me. A lot of things.
Oh, and you thought it was real tacky.
Yeah, I didn't like the black and white shit, but if you liked it, it's all good. But and also when things wrap up towards the end of the end of the seasons, they get too slow and they have something that they got to get to and they never get to it the way I think they get to it, and it's real slow. It's not drawn out fast. They're going slow now instead of speeding up. It's kind of like slowing it down, like winding down.
Yeah, it's building up. It's giving us information and it's building. And there was certain climaxes within too. So I like that episode a lot. Predictions. Any predictions?
Damn, Richie's getting eaten the next
Oh
episode.
no, yo, he killed the drums in this episode too.
Who else is getting eaten? I think Mrs. Kirsch is getting eaten.
I think one of the patty cakes is gonna get it. A bully always gets it.
Yeah, Patty Cake might get it. Maybe by the end, though. I'm trying to think about it because I done watched a whole bunch of trailers and shit. I want to watch more trailers now. But I think Patty Cakes might get it, but they might not. I don't know. This whole black spot shit.
Leroy's right-hand man, though. R.I.P. to him.
Yeah, he's still wandering out there. Lonely soul.
Damn. Well, Richie's the only prediction. I was kind of rooting for everybody, but I guess somebody gotta go.
Richie gotta
Oh,
go.
one of my predictions is one of the children might still be alive and they might save them at the end.
What you mean, say again?
Like in the where they float, like there might be one of the missing ones, perhaps even the ones that have the missing poster up of their boy.
Yeah.
The tall one, I forget, they was in the first episode. I thought they was gonna be the main characters and they killed them all off.
Oh, I think those kids are all dead.
Well, if not one of those, maybe another missing one. Somebody floating that they're able to break the spell when they send him back for 23 years. If they send him back, which that's another prediction they will.
I don't even know how they're gonna do that. I think, my prediction on that, I think this dude's just gonna burn this shit down, fuck everything up, and then just go to sleep.
That's
Eat
what I wanted
everybody.
to see more of. Like they cut us off right when they pulled up at the black spot. Like,
yeah, there was no real thrill in this shit to me.
why did they sit at that car waiting for them to pull up like that? And I heard you say, oh, they probably thought it was their people because nobody's supposed to be there.
Nah.
But once they even got up with mask, I would have ran in the spot and talked about get behind me. Like, what?
Yeah, it's just different times, yo.
They're in a spot with mad armed forces, like run up and they be like, yo, they rushed us.
He was supposed to go tell them, especially with all the bright lights on, like, hey, ain't nobody here, there's somebody here. He was supposed to go in and instantly tell them.
And another prediction is these next two episodes are really going to tie in Rose and Daniel and that family because
I need to see what's up with him.
We haven't seen them at all this episode and a little bit last episode, but they really builded them up in
this
episode
is what I'm trying
3.
to say. Like, lot of, they did that, it was too slow and too much stuff that I feel like I didn't need. Like, I needed Bob Gray's backstory, but I really didn't need to see him kill that little girl like that.
That's what I'm talking about. Like they're giving us stuff within these slow build-ups that is dragging on certain pieces. But I feel like Rose's story and Daniel's story is like hot like itself. Like I like the ancestry. I like their backstories. And did you ever notice when they go back to their backstories, it's super colorful?
Yeah.
Like colorful, everything. And then like you ever notice like when she goes back with Bob Gray, it's black and white. Like it's always different. So, and I like the different cinematic aspects of it.
I would have been happy if I just seen Daniel walking at the end of the episode.
Or just even one little build-up of like even him walking through a forest. Like, where's he going? Like, you know what I mean? Something.
Say. Just show this dude walking somewhere.
That's why my last prediction is I really think that they're going to tie Rose and Daniel into this and come full circle. Maybe even perhaps work with the military. Rose in the...
Honestly, I think she's going to end up working with Charlotte. And getting her, and her husband ain't gonna get right.
That's a good prediction.
Her husband isn't gonna get right. He's gonna stay in Derry forever and be mentally messed up. But Charlotte got a chance.
We will see.
All right, we'll see Sunday.
Y'all see the fit. We're watching Stranger Things too.
Yeah.
Might do a breakdown.
Oh, what you mean watch? You only get, it takes 24 hours to watch Stranger Things. They
Well,
gave us 4 episodes.
Yeah, but we only watched it once.
Now we gotta wait. Now we gotta wait till December.
So we have time to drop some recaps.
Oh, this is December, so we gotta wait 20-something days.
We got time to drop recaps, so drop a tornado or monster emoji if you want to see that.
Hell yeah. It's your boy Raw Gaming.
It's your girl Nana Freaky Jones. Ow, ow, ow.